TDS viewers and listeners. It's your guy NWB, and today I am joined as always by Mr. Justen Williams.
How's it going, guys?
Also joining us is a young man who is already well-traveled before the age of 20. This gentleman was born in Madrid, grew up in Canada, and represents Poland in international football. He is also a graduate from the TSC Academy in our great city of Toronto. GTS Nation, I introduce to you Alex Krakowiak-Castro. How you doing?
How's it going, everyone? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you on.
All right, so I guess I'll kick off the questions there, sir. How has quarantine life been treating you, and what are some things you've been doing to kind of keep busy with it?
Yeah, I'd say near the start it was tough because I just came from school break, so I was kind of figuring everything out academically wise, and then of course the lack of motivation came in. Maybe lasted a couple of days before I started picking myself back up. And I think ever since then, I've been training every single day. And then ever since the phases have started to roll out, I've been fortunate enough to train with a good group of guys that I get with every single morning, and we get our work in. So that's been keeping me grounded.
Okay. So I understand you're also going to be attending Madison University, James Madison University. Has your coaches been sending you kind of workout plans? Are you excited for this? Tell us a little bit about that experience too.
Yeah, I mean, I went there in the spring. I only spent 2 months there before all of this happened. I've been very eager to get back because I feel like I just got a little bit of a taste. But I'm, like I said, I'm very eager to go back and actually play a full season in the fall, however that looks. But yeah, we've been sent lots of running to do and a bunch of workouts. So I think for myself speaking as well as for the team, we're very fit, and I know we're gonna do very well this year.
Perfect. I like that. Getting that spirit going for you.
Yeah.
So now you're an academic and you're an athlete, but what are you studying in university? Just to let everyone know.
Yeah, I'm studying in psychology.
Nice.
Psych the players out. I like it.
Exactly. Getting into the heads of your opponents. Very good. Now, Alex, as I said at the jump, you were born in Madrid, you've grown up in Canada, and you played for Poland. Tell us about your life experience so far, especially living in different countries.
Yeah, I think I've been pretty fortunate, to be honest. As a Canadian footballer, I grew up here ever since the age of 6. But I did get that little bit of a taste in Spanish football while I lived there, and I was going back almost every summer playing there as well. So I feel like if someone was to watch me play, they would see that my style is a little bit more possession-based as it is in Europe. And like I said, I've been very fortunate to represent Poland because that is something that I feel not a lot of Canadian players are able to say they're able to do. And with their scouting network, that is very good. They were able to see me, and I was able to do well the first time I got out and keep getting called back for essentially what was 3 years.
Damn. So they scouted you. How'd that phone call go? Do they just call you up and they're like, hey, insert proper saying of last name? Was it in Polish? Was it in English? Was it in Spanish? How did that go?
Yeah, so my mother is Spanish, my father is Polish, and actually for me, so Spanish was my first language. Obviously came over to Canada and learned English, but Polish was never really a language I got into. I found it very tough, and especially from the Latin background I had with Spanish, it's nothing similar at all.
Right.
So I found it very tough, and the first contact was actually me sending a bunch of game film over to them, which lasted for virtually 8 months. I was sending game film every single week, basically, with no response at first. What had happened is I was put in contact with them and given all the contact details, but it wasn't initial contact from them. After the 8 or so months of me sending game film through, I guess one of them slipped through and they got to see it. And what they invited me out for was a training camp at first. The way those training camps work is roughly, not exact, but half the team is players who have represented, have had caps, while the other half is brand new players who have never been in the Polish scene or anything like that. So I was part of that group. And I was very lucky because something got into me that week. I don't know. God was with me that week, and I played really well. and I just kept getting called back. And there was a lot of steps moving forward to actually play. I had my European passport, but to actually play for Poland, they needed my Polish passport, so that took a little bit of time. But everything worked out at the end.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
And I understand that you're a defender too. Is there anybody you model your game after particularly?
So I'm actually a center defensive mid. Growing up, I looked up to Xavi. Being Spanish, obviously, I looked up to Xavi, what a player he was. And then growing up, I kind of tried to tailor my game more towards Xavi Alonso, another Spanish midfielder who isn't recognized as greatly as Xavi, but I love the way he plays and his character and everything. I really like to look up to him and kind of model my game around him.
Interesting. Now, being born in Madrid, the playing style that you like is modeled on Xavi. So I got to ask, are you Real or are you Barca, if you have to choose one?
Yeah, no, I'm 100% around Madrid.
Right.
It's just, I guess, the respect I have for a player like Xavi, regardless of the club that he's at, is monumental.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it sounds like you're quite determined. I'm picking up that you're quite determined. You're very persistent. You mentioned that you found motivation during quarantine to get up and get training again. And you're also a psychology student. So tell us about what goes through your mind. How do you build yourself up to, I guess, to keep going when times are tough?
I think it's a complicated question that a lot of people ask themselves, but not a lot of people are able to really figure out, because it is a very difficult thing. I think personally for myself, I've been through a lot of adversity as a person in my regular life as well as an athlete. And I think that has blessed me with the ability to kind of look at outcomes in two perspectives, right? And I kind of realized that what the situation was going on. Obviously, it's very important to take precaution and be safe and all that. But as an athlete, I kind of found this as an outlet for me to get better. And I realized a lot of people were maybe going to take this time off. And I said, if I can train every single day, I'm going to become twice the player they are over this time. Maybe they'll catch up because they're talented, but I know my hard work will have me a little bit ahead when things resume, and hopefully ahead of the game for essentially the rest of the time when we do resume. So I think what keeps me motivated, I have a very good family support system. My father's a very hardworking person, and that's a trait I think I picked up. Maybe not picked up, but something something I admire very greatly of him, and something that I've tried to implement into my life.
Fantastic.
Damn. So, sorry if I may. You touched on your father being like motivational. Has there anyone in football or outside football have really meshed well with you and given you advice for your future, whether it be academically, whether it be athletically, whether it just be personally?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the first two people that came into my head, first very influential person in my career as a coach and as a mentor, is Anthony Capitosto, now technical director of Toronto FC's academy. I was fortunate enough to have him as my coach for 3 years, and he really gave me the confidence to grow into a young man from a very young age, putting me as captain for those 3 years. I learned a lot under his mentorship. He's a very, very intelligent person as well as coach. And of course, all the things that he provided into my game benefited me a lot. Second, one person who's actually a teammate of mine, his name is Kasper. He's on loan now from Brighton, but he plays now in Poland. One of my teammates who with the national team, who really changed my mindset when I first met him, because he was someone who got a mindset into me to never really back down from any challenges or respect players on the other team too greatly before we actually step on the pitch. That was one of my biggest problems when I got into the Polish national team, because being a kid from Canada, those experiences don't come often. And who Kasper was for me was someone with great amount of confidence, someone who played in the Prem for a good amount of years, and he really helped me out. And essentially changed my mindset when I was going over to Europe.
Fantastic. That's beautiful. Just going into the future a little bit. In 6 years' time, 2026, the World Cup comes here to your place, your backyard. Canada, Mexico, and the US are hosts. How excited are you for this?
I'm very excited. Honestly, when I first saw this, it didn't really resonate into my head what this opportunity could actually become. And I still think it doesn't resonate too much into me, but a big goal of mine at 100% is to be in that World Cup. And it's been a dream of mine ever since a young kid, and now there's a platform for me to do so. So I know that I'm determined to do what I got to do to get there. And I'm really looking forward to it. I want to see the squad that gets picked out and essentially what happens.
Amazing. And they say that good things happen in threes. This will be the first tournament that's hosted by 3 countries. And you, my friend, are eligible to play for 3 countries. I know you've played for Poland at under 18 and under 19 level, but you are still eligible for Canada and Spain. So, is there any chance we can see you playing for Team Canada, or is your heart set on playing for the Red and White Eagles of Poland?
Yeah, I think absolutely I'd want to play for Team Canada. As of now, I've had virtually no contact with them. Whether that's to change in the future, I'm 100% open to it. But as of now, I've only really been with Poland. I've attended a camp as a U15 athlete back with Team Canada. But I know the way that Team Canada works is they only have a team for every 2 age groups, and I kind of lucked out. So whatever happens, happens. And if I get the call up, I'll 100% be there and look to do bits for Canada.
Exactly. So that'd be a very triumphant moment for you in 2026 when you make it, because you're going to make it. I have good faith in you,
yes.
Whether it be Poland, Canada, or Spain. But as of right now, what is your favorite football moment? And it could be from when you were a kid, when you scored your first goal, when you walked into the pitch. What is your moment?
Yeah. I think there's 2 really, really big ones, and they're both with the national team. I think my first one was actually one of my first games for Poland that my dad was actually able to come out and watch. And I think I know I've made him proud several times in my life in football and on and off the field, but I think the first time he saw me in that kit, and then meeting with him after the game and still wearing the kit and everything, I think that was a really good moment for me and my family, because I knew that this was something that maybe we didn't expect. If someone was to ask or tell me 4 or 5 years ago, you're going to play for Poland one day, I would laugh almost. It's something that I think a lot of Canadian players struggle with, because we like to limit ourselves, right? We think that just because we're in North America, some goals aren't attainable, but like I said, and I think the second one was actually back in November of 2019. We played England at home in Poland, and we just had a tremendous crowd. The support was unreal before, during, and after the game. So that was a very big, eye-opening moment for me. It was a little taste of what pro football was like, and of course, playing against England is like nothing else.
Jesus, that was more intense than I expected it to be. I thought you were going to be like, I scored a goal. It was great. It was on the Jumbotron and everything. And you're like, no, I was from the heart and the soul. And I'm like, well, all right, cool.
Alex, this one's for the kids. What are some words of advice you pass on to some of the young footballers out there who aspire to be like you and to play professionally and to also play for their country?
Mm-hmm. I think what I was kind of touching on earlier, one thing is, especially as a Canadian footballer, limiting yourself to your goals, whether that's big or small, is something that you really shouldn't do, because now we're seeing so many more players going over to Europe and actually succeeding, obviously at the largest scale with Alphonso Davies, someone that's an incredible player and becoming really successful with his club. And then obviously with a bunch of youth players going over to national teams. I think it's something that Canadian players need to stop. and realize that through the hard work that they're able to put in, virtually anything is possible. My second piece of advice is for younger kids to realize that they need to put a lot of training in, a lot of hours in by themselves. And I don't mean by themselves, but I mean with a little group of players training outside of their team training, because if your team is only training 3-4 times a week, players will only grow at a stagnant rate. But if you're training outside your team, you're going to definitely excel. And once you start seeing that you're outgrowing your team, you have to move on to the next level. There was a decision in my life that I took, and that was to go to TFC. And I remember telling my parents, I was like, "Oh, but I want to stay with my friends." And I'm so happy I never stayed at that club. To be with my friends is something that now looking back would have been very stupid of me. But that's definitely my 2 pieces of advice.
You did what was right for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do that. I've really enjoyed the questions today, Alex. And before we get you out of here, just want to have a little bit of fun, play a game. I hope you're cool with that.
Sounds
if
good.
Not, you're playing anyway, so don't worry about it.
So we're going to play a quick game. These are 11 rapid fire questions. So just like in psychology, imagine I'm your psychologist and you're my patient. You see the first thing that comes to your mind. In this case, it's just going to be yay or nay. Okay. So 50-50 on this, all right? Number 1, pineapples on pizza.
Yay.
Cilantro.
Yay.
Black licorice.
Nay.
Poutine.
Yay.
Almond milk.
Nay.
Coconut.
Yay.
Coconut milk.
Nay.
Hot dogs with ketchup.
Yay.
Tomatoes.
Nay.
Sorry, the hesitation on that. Pierogies.
Yay.
Vegemite.
Don't know what that is.
We'll get to that.
That's something we can Google after. Okay. Sounds good. All right, then. That was the game, and you did pretty well.
Perfect.
Very
I'm
good.
happy you included the pierogies in there.
Yeah, we're going to represent. Go to represent.
Yeah.
Actually, I do.
Appreciate it.
I have a question about pierogies. So I'm a huge fan of blueberries. It's like it is my number 1 fruit, and I think it's a very underrated fruit. Thank you. I'm gonna keep you around. Do you like pierogies with blueberries?
Here's the thing. I've never had my pierogies with fruit inside, but I know that a lot of people eat it, and I know like my father eats it. And I've always had my pierogies with like cheese and like bacon inside, but
Right.
I know my father eats it with like cottage cheese, which is a bit sweeter, and then obviously like fruits inside, but I've never had it. Now that you say that, I think I need to try it out soon.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Don't knock it until you try it. And the same goes with Vegemite. Vegemite is it's an Australian spread. You put it on your bread. Don't put too much on it. That's the mistake that people make. Just put on a thin slice on your bread and just give it a try. And let me know how you go.
Listen, I'm gonna try it out one day, and I won't forget about you. I'm gonna message you on Instagram and tell you how it goes.
I was gonna say, in 6 years, when you're playing for one of your 3 national teams, we got to have you on in the World Cup because you'll be in our backyard. So we're gonna be like, come to the studio.
That's right.
There's no COVID.
That'd be sick.
Oh my God, I would cry. I'd be like, I'd be like, I remember you, but you grew up and I got old. Like,
you and me, Justen, we're gonna get old together.
I know exactly.
We'll age gracefully. But another person who has grace is Mr. Alex Krakowiak. Thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Where can our audience find you on social media?
Yeah, so all my social medias would be Alex_Krakowiak or just Alex Krakowiak, no spaces or anything.
Too easy. And yeah, we wish you all the best in the coming fall and in the next few years playing for Poland or whether it be Team Canada. We want to see your progress, so we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, guys. I really enjoyed this podcast today.
Thank you so much, sir.
Fantastic. This has been Toronto Talk Sauce and more. Love the Six. Let's connect.
Thank you for watching. Please click the like button and leave us a comment with your feedback. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications to see more engaging and interactive content. Toronto Talk Sports and more. For the love of the Six, let's connect.